What if I told you your entire future is already happening? Not tomorrow, not next year, but today, in the tiny, almost invisible choices you're making right now. Most people wait for a breakthrough moment, a sign, a miracle, but success doesn't knock on the door with fanfare. It slips in quietly, hidden inside your routine, your discipline, your repetition, the way you wake up, the way you speak to yourself, the way you show up when no one's clapping. That's where greatness is born. It's not about having a perfect plan. It's about having a daily rhythm that aligns with your purpose, because your life doesn't rise to the level of your dreams. It sinks or rises to the level of your habits. And every day you delay, distract, or drift, you're still building something. The question is, are you building the life you want, or the one you'll one day regret? This episode isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters, with intention, clarity, and inner power. We'll explore 12 timeless keys, drawn from Stoic wisdom, ancient philosophy, and modern insight, to help you reshape your daily routine into a system of growth, strength, and self-mastery. Because success isn't something you chase, it's something you repeat, quietly, patiently, persistently, until one day you become it. 1. Your future is hidden in what you do daily. Have you ever stopped to think how much of your life is already decided, not by some grand fate or external force, but by what you did this morning? It's uncomfortable to admit. We want to believe in dramatic turnarounds, in sudden success stories, in the overnight change that rewrites everything, but the truth is far less cinematic and far more powerful. Your future is being built right now through your small, repeated actions. The ones no one sees, applauds, or even notices. This is the quiet architecture of destiny. It's not shaped in explosive moments, but in ordinary ones. Waking up and choosing to move instead of snooze. Sitting down to work even when you don't feel like it. Saying no to distraction. Saying yes to discipline. These moments are not small. They are everything. Epictetus put it simply: first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. There is no success without structure, no transformation without repetition. You can write down goals, dream big, envision your ideal life, but until your daily actions reflect that vision, it remains fantasy. Action is the bridge between who you are and who you could be, and that bridge is built one brick at a time, every single day. The hardest part: it doesn't feel magical. There's no instant payoff, no immediate reward, and that's where most people fall off, because they're addicted to quick results, not committed to long-term growth. But the ones who build something real, they fall in love with the process. They learn to respect the quiet power of consistency. They understand that today's effort is tomorrow's character. You might not be able to change everything overnight, but you can change something today. One decision, one habit, 1 hour of focused work instead of mindless scrolling. That's how the future shifts, not in years, but in minutes. The compound effect is relentless. Your small actions stack. Every repetition is a vote for who you're becoming. Every routine is a rehearsal for the life you're building. So ask yourself honestly, what am I rehearsing today? What version of myself am I practicing? Because your body remembers, your brain rewires, your future is watching, and it's being shaped by what you're doing right now. Success is not a mystery. It's a math problem. The answer is found in your calendar, your habits, your focus. And if you want different results, you don't need a new goal. You need a new routine. Your future isn't waiting, it's already happening. In the silence, in the discipline, in the repetition. 2. Win the morning, win the day. How do you begin your day? And more importantly, who are you becoming in that first hour? Before the world interrupts, before your phone lights up, before you step into obligations, there's a window, a sacred moment where your mind is untouched, your body is reset, and your choices are completely your own. What you do with that moment matters more than most people realize, because how you begin is how you continue, and how you continue is how you live. The morning is not just a time of day, it's a declaration. It tells your mind, this is the direction we're headed today. Start in chaos, and your thoughts will scatter. Start in control, and you create a frame that protects your clarity throughout the day. It's not about being perfect, it's about being intentional. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor who ruled an empire and yet remained a student of self-discipline, wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." What a radical shift in perspective. Not, what do I have to do today, but what do I get to experience today? Too many people wake up already in defense mode, checking messages, scanning headlines, racing the clock. They hand their attention to the outside world before even giving their inner world a chance to speak. But the Stoic knows, your morning is your anchor. Guard it like your peace depends on it, because it does. Winning the morning doesn't mean grinding at 5 a.m. or doing everything you see in a productivity vlog. It means asking, what do I need to feel strong, focused, grounded, before the world touches me? Maybe it's silence, maybe it's writing, maybe it's breathwork or reading or simply drinking water in stillness. The point is not what you do, it's why you do it and how consistently you return to it. Routines are rituals, and rituals train your nervous system. They tell your mind, we're not rushing, we're not reacting, we're setting the tone. This is the power of the morning. It's the only part of the day you still control before the world makes its demands, and the results compound. A calm morning leads to clearer decisions. A centered start leads to more emotional resilience. You're not just winning the first hour, you're winning every moment that follows, because you began with intention. So ask yourself tomorrow, do I want to react to the day, or do I want to lead it? Because the moment you open your eyes, you're already deciding what kind of life you're about to live. 3. Discipline is stronger than motivation. What do you do when you don't feel like showing up? That's the real test. Not when you're inspired, not when you're on a streak, but when it's hard, when it's boring, when no one's watching and there's nothing pushing you but your own decision to keep going. That's where success either grows or dies. Most people are addicted to motivation. They wait for a spark, a perfect moment, the right playlist, the mood to strike. But motivation is fragile. It rises and falls with your energy, your emotions, your circumstances. Discipline, on the other hand, it doesn't care how you feel. It shows up anyway. It's not loud or flashy. It's quiet, persistent, and relentless. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Think about that. Most of the pain we fear in doing hard things comes from the story we tell ourselves before we even start. We imagine it will be unbearable, exhausting, impossible, and so we avoid. But when you just begin, you realize it's rarely as bad as you feared. Action quiets anxiety. Repetition silences resistance. Discipline doesn't mean forcing yourself through every moment like a machine. It means creating systems so you don't rely on unstable feelings. It means honoring your commitment more than your mood. It means showing up for yourself, even when it's inconvenient, especially when it's inconvenient. And here's the truth. Every time you push through a moment of resistance, you build self-respect. Every time you follow through on a promise to yourself, your identity shifts. You start seeing yourself not as someone who tries, but as someone who finishes. That shift in identity is where the real transformation happens. This is why routines are so powerful. They remove the need to negotiate with yourself every day. You don't have to decide whether to do the thing. You just do it, because it's who you are now. And over time, those disciplined moments, those small, repeated acts of self-alignment, they become the foundation of your strength. Motivation may start the journey, but it will never carry you to the finish line. Discipline is what shows up when inspiration disappears. It's what keeps you grounded when the excitement fades. It's what separates those who dabble from those who become. So ask yourself today, what would my life look like if I did what I said I would? Not just when I felt like it, but every time it mattered. That's not just how success is built. That's how unshakable character is forged. 4. Your identity grows through repetition. Who are you becoming? Not in theory, but in practice. It's easy to say, I want to be more disciplined, or I'm trying to be more confident. But your identity doesn't shift because of what you wish for. It shifts because of what you repeat. Every habit you build, every routine you stick with, every choice you make when it would have been easier not to. These are not just actions, they are votes. And with each vote, you cast a silent message to your future self. This is who I am. Aristotle captured this truth perfectly. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Most people focus on outcomes. They want to achieve something, lose the weight, finish the project, make the money. But they miss the more important part, who they're becoming in the process. Because when you focus on identity, the results take care of themselves. Every day is a rehearsal for your future. If you repeat procrastination, you become someone who hesitates. If you repeat clarity and focus, you become someone who executes. Your patterns become your personality. Your rituals shape your reality. And repetition does something even deeper. It rewires your brain. Neuroscience confirms what ancient philosophy knew intuitively. Habits literally change your structure. Each time you follow through, you strengthen the neural pathway that says, I do what I say I will. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. Not because the task gets lighter, but because you get stronger. The trap is waiting to feel like the person you want to become before acting like them. But it doesn't work that way. You don't become confident and then speak up. You speak up repeatedly, and confidence follows. You don't become disciplined and then show up daily. You show up daily, and discipline grows. This is why small, consistent actions matter. They might seem insignificant in the moment, but over time they shape everything. A 10-minute workout, a few minutes of journaling, reading a single page. These aren't just tasks. They're signals. They say, I'm building a new identity and I'm proving it, one choice at a time. So here's the question. What are you rehearsing every day? Because whether you realize it or not, you're always practicing something. The version of you you're becoming is hidden in what you keep repeating. You don't have to overhaul your life overnight. Just choose one habit that reflects your highest self and keep showing up for it. Quietly, daily, relentlessly. That's not just how identity is built. That's how it's earned. 5. Your habits determine your level, not your goals. What if your biggest dreams are not waiting for more motivation, but for more consistency? We live in a goal-obsessed world. People talk about their 5-year plans, their vision boards, their future selves. And while there's value in having direction, goals alone won't carry you, because a goal is just a destination. But habits? Habits are the vehicle that gets you there, 1 mile at a time. And if your daily behaviors aren't aligned with that vision, it doesn't matter how inspiring your goals are. You're not going anywhere. Lao Tzu said, "Do the difficult things while they are easy, and the great things while they are small." In other words, master the details, the daily, the ordinary. Success isn't found in rare moments of intensity. It's built in repeated moments of clarity. And the uncomfortable truth? You don't rise to your ambitions. You fall to the level of your systems. Think about someone you admire, not just for what they've achieved, but for how they live. What sets them apart? It's not a secret talent or constant inspiration. It's usually their habits, the things they do, whether they feel like it or not. The small structured acts they've committed to, even when no one is watching. That's the real difference. And yet, most people keep chasing bigger goals when they should be refining their systems. They think the solution is a new plan, a new project, a new life strategy, but really, it's a return to the basics. What do I do every day? Because your life isn't measured by what you hope to do. It's measured by what you do repeatedly. This is why some people stay stuck, even with brilliant ideas, and why others, with no flashy goals, steadily grow. It's the system, the daily rhythm, the choices that become so automatic, they require no debate. And that doesn't happen by accident. It happens through design and discipline. So if you're not where you want to be, start here. Stop obsessing over the outcome and start mastering the process. What are the 3 to 5 things you need to do each day to stay aligned with your highest self? Are you doing them? If not, it's not the dream that's broken, it's the system. Success is not a finish line, it's a threshold you cross every single day by showing up, staying consistent, and honoring the process over the fantasy. Because your goals may inspire you, but it's your habits that define you. 6. Plan with intention or drift with distraction. Have you ever looked up at the end of a long day and thought, what did I actually accomplish? It's a subtle kind of exhaustion, not from doing too much, but from doing too little of what really matters. You were busy, you moved, you replied, you handled things, but were you intentional, or were you just reacting to the noise? There's a quiet war going on every morning when you wake up. On one side, your clarity, your vision, your purpose. On the other, distraction, urgency, other people's expectations. If you don't choose who you want to be today, the world will decide for you, and it won't choose in your favor. Carl Jung warned us clearly, you are what you do, not what you say you'll do. That single line strips away every excuse. Intention isn't found in what you plan to do someday. It's found in what you make room for today. Deliberately, repeatedly, with full presence. We often confuse movement with progress. We check off tasks, we attend meetings, we reply to endless messages. But without intentional direction, even hard work becomes wasted energy. You can climb a ladder all day and still end up against the wrong wall. Planning with intention means starting the day with clarity, not perfection. It means knowing what really moves the needle for you and protecting that work like it's sacred. It means putting your deep work before shallow tasks. It means asking, if I only got one thing done today that aligned with my highest self, what would it be? Then doing that first. You don't need a complex system. You need presence. You need a short list, not a long one. You need the courage to protect your priorities, even from yourself, because without that, your time gets stolen, not all at once, but in tiny, silent withdrawals. One notification here, one unplanned hour there, until eventually your day disappears. Not because you didn't have time, but because you didn't claim it. Here's a truth many avoid. Distraction is comfortable. It saves you from having to confront the harder work, the focused, clear, meaningful action that actually builds something. But drifting, even if it feels productive, is still drifting. You don't land in a meaningful life by accident. You build it, brick by brick, through conscious design. So tomorrow morning, before the world can reach you, reach for yourself. Ask, what matters most today? Write it down, keep it close, make it real, then guard it with the strength of someone who knows their purpose is worth protecting. Because your time is your life. And what you plan with intention becomes what you live with pride. 7. Rituals create momentum. When life feels heavy and your energy runs low, what carries you forward? It's not willpower, not excitement, not even motivation. It's ritual, quiet, intentional acts repeated daily, even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it, because momentum isn't something you wait for, it's something you build, breath by breath, choice by choice, through the invisible power of repetition. James Clear once said, "You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems." That line strips away the illusion of discipline as this grand heroic act. It's not. True discipline is quiet. It's ritual. And rituals don't just create structure, they create identity. The person you become is not shaped in the peak moments. It's shaped in what you do when nothing feels urgent, but everything still matters. The power of ritual isn't in its complexity, it's in its consistency. A 5-minute meditation every morning, a journal entry before bed, drinking a full glass of water before coffee. These may seem like nothing in isolation, but stacked over days, weeks, and years, they create a rhythm, a pulse, a forward motion that carries you even when your energy drops. Think of it like this. Every ritual you commit to is a rope you throw forward into your future. Every time you grab it, you pull yourself one step closer to the version of you you're becoming. Even if it's slow, even if it's small, you're still moving, and that's everything. Rituals also reduce friction. You no longer waste energy deciding whether to do the thing. You just do it, because it's part of you now. And this is where the magic happens, when action becomes identity. When the morning walk isn't something you force, it's just who you are. When reflecting at night isn't a task, it's a return to center. In a distracted world, ritual is rebellion. It says, I will not be tossed around by moods, notifications, or circumstances. I choose rhythm. I choose focus. I choose self-direction. That kind of power isn't loud, but it is unshakable. And when you stack these rituals, when one small act leads to another, and another, and another, you build momentum, not in a single day, but in layers. You begin to trust yourself again. You begin to look in the mirror and see someone who follows through, not once, but always. So ask yourself, what are the rituals that hold me steady? Not the trendy ones, not the ones others do, but the ones that center you, the ones that ground your mind, sharpen your focus, Restore your power. Start small, but start daily, because once momentum is on your side, you no longer need to push. You begin to glide. 8. Protect what you feed your mind. If your thoughts shape your reality, what kind of world are you building with the things you consume? Most people guard their money, their home, their schedule, but leave their mind completely unprotected. They scroll through chaos first thing in the morning, let headlines shape their mood, absorb opinions they didn't ask for. They drink in negativity without realizing they're poisoning their peace. But here's the truth. Your mind is soil. What you plant there grows, and if you're not intentional about your inputs, don't be surprised when anxiety, confusion, and self-doubt take root. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts." That's not metaphor. It's a warning, because your thoughts don't exist in isolation. They become your actions, your habits, your emotional baseline. What you feed your mind in silence shows up in how you speak, how you show up, how you lead your life. And we often underestimate just how much influence we've handed away. Every time you scroll without awareness, every time you binge content that drags you into comparison, every time you let others' chaos become your atmosphere, you're saying, "Here, take my mental clarity, take my focus, take my inner space." But you can't create something meaningful from a mind filled with noise. This doesn't mean living in denial. It means curating your inputs like your peace depends on it, because it does. It means being intentional with your information diet. Who are you listening to? What voices are shaping your worldview? Are they building you up or draining you? Do they challenge you to grow or keep you stuck in cycles of fear, outrage, or passivity? Protecting your mind is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's not about ignoring reality, it's about refusing to drown in everyone else's version of it. And that begins with boundaries. Boundaries around your time, around your attention, around what and who you let influence your mental state. It means creating sacred space in your day where you are the one who decides what enters. Maybe that's the first hour of your morning. No phone, no notifications, just your thoughts, your words, your truth. Maybe it's the books you choose to read instead of the content you're fed. Maybe it's following people who inspire and unfollowing those who manipulate. Every choice matters, because over time, your mind becomes what you expose it to most. Not all at once, but drop by drop. Your confidence, your ideas, your emotional strength, they either grow or wither based on what you let in. So ask yourself honestly, what am I feeding my mind today? Is it aligned with the life I want to build, or is it pulling me further from it? You are not powerless. You are the gatekeeper, and when you start acting like one, everything changes. 9. Busy is not the same as productive. Why do we confuse exhaustion with progress? There's a strange pride in being busy. People wear it like a badge, the packed schedule, the constant rushing, the never-ending list of things to do. But being busy is not the same as being effective. You can spend an entire day in motion and go absolutely nowhere. Busyness feels productive because it's loud, it's visible, it keeps you moving. But true productivity, it's focused, it's intentional, and most of all, it's quiet. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." And it's painfully true. We don't lack time, we lack clarity. We spend hours answering emails, attending meetings, running errands, only to fall into bed with the haunting feeling that nothing important moved forward. That's not success. That's self-deception in motion. Real productivity starts with asking better questions. What truly matters today? What moves the needle? What aligns with my deeper purpose? Because if you don't decide those things ahead of time, the world will decide for you. And the world doesn't care about your priorities. It cares about your availability. Busyness is reactive. Productivity is proactive. One fills your time. The other moves your life. And unless you pause and reflect regularly, it's easy to get swept into the illusion of activity, thinking that because your calendar is full, your goals are closer. But full calendars don't guarantee full lives. And tired doesn't always mean accomplished. The danger is subtle. You can be praised for your hustle, admired for your responsiveness, rewarded for your speed, and still be drifting away from what matters most. It's not enough to work hard. You have to work on the right things. And often, those things are not urgent, not loud, not immediately rewarding. They're the things you postpone, the ones that require focus, solitude, long-term thinking. That's where the real work lives. So how do you shift from busy to productive? You slow down. You plan before reacting. You make space in your day, not just for tasks, but for thinking, evaluating, redirecting. You protect deep work like your future depends on it, because it does. You stop measuring your day by how much you did, and start measuring it by how much progress you made in the direction that matters. Being busy impresses others. Being productive transforms you. Ask yourself tonight, what did I do today that truly mattered? If the answer is unclear, maybe it's time to stop running and start leading. 10. Evenings are for reflection, not just rest. How do you close your day? For most, the evening is an escape, collapsing onto the couch, numbing out with entertainment, scrolling until the noise in the mind finally fades. And while rest is essential, not all rest is created equal. Some rest restores you. Other rest just distracts you from your own life. What you do at the end of your day isn't just a way to wind down. It's a mirror. It shows you whether you're living on autopilot or with intention. Confucius said, "By 3 methods we may learn wisdom, by reflection, which is noblest, by imitation, which is easiest, and by experience, which is bitterest." And yet reflection is what we neglect most. We fear slowing down because we're afraid of what might rise in the silence. Regret, restlessness, the feeling that something is missing. But that discomfort isn't your enemy. It's your compass. It tells you what needs your attention. It invites you to realign. Reflection isn't just about thinking. It's about listening to what you did, what you felt, what you ignored, what you need. It's the difference between living intentionally and just surviving. Without it, days blur into each other. Life passes in a fog. You look back and wonder where the time went, not because you lacked effort, but because you lacked awareness. And here's what most people miss. Your evening shapes your tomorrow. The way you review your day, the way you decompress, the way you reset, it all affects how you wake up. Sleep doesn't just restore your body, it digests your thoughts. And if you go to bed with cluttered emotions, unresolved stress, and no sense of clarity, your mind carries that into the next day. But when you take 10, even 5 minutes to reflect, everything changes. You begin to see patterns, what drained you, what inspired you, what habits are quietly running your life. You start making better decisions, not just out of willpower, but out of wisdom. You realize that small course corrections at night can save you from major detours later. Reflection is not about judgment, it's about alignment. It's not asking, was I perfect today? It's asking, was I honest? Was I present? Did I move one step closer to the person I want to be? You don't need a fancy system, just a quiet space, a journal, a question or two. What worked? What didn't? What will I carry into tomorrow? And what will I leave behind? That's how you end your day with intention. That's how you fall asleep with peace. Because when your evenings become a ritual of awareness, your life becomes a reflection of growth. 11. Celebrate small wins. When was the last time you paused and gave yourself credit? Not for finishing a big project, not for reaching some dramatic milestone, but for showing up, for choosing growth over comfort, for saying no to distraction, for doing the right thing even when no one saw it. We've been trained to wait for the big wins, the promotions, the transformations, the applause. But what if greatness isn't found in those rare, shining moments, but in the small victories that happen every day and go unnoticed? Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how, but your why doesn't have to carry you on its own. It needs fuel, and one of the most powerful forms of fuel is progress. Even if it's just one step, one decision, one silent moment where you did what your future self would be proud of." Celebrating small wins isn't about ego, it's about reinforcement. When you recognize your progress, no matter how subtle, you strengthen the neural pathway that says, "This is who I am now." You remind your brain that your efforts matter, that consistency is paying off, even if the results aren't fully visible yet. But here's what happens to most people. They keep raising the bar, they hit a goal, and immediately move the target. They do something hard, and dismiss it as not enough. They forget to pause, to breathe, to say, "I did that," and it counts. Without that pause, momentum fades, because what isn't acknowledged starts to feel meaningless. Celebration doesn't have to be loud. It can be quiet pride, a moment of stillness, a hand on your heart and the thought, "I kept going." That's enough. That's powerful. And over time, those quiet recognitions become a new emotional foundation. You start to believe in your ability to evolve, not because someone told you, but because you've lived it, one win at a time. The truth is, most people don't burn out from doing too much. They burn out from feeling like nothing they do is ever enough. But when you honor the small wins, you protect your fire. You keep it burning. You remember that transformation isn't made of giant leaps. It's made of daily steps, stacked in silence. So tonight, reflect not just on what's missing, but on what's working. What did you do today that you wouldn't have done 6 months ago? What small act of courage, focus, or discipline deserves a quiet nod? Celebrate that. Let it matter. Let it build. Because when you honor every step, success stops feeling distant. It starts feeling personal. 12. Design your days. Shape your life. If you don't shape your days, who will? It's a hard truth, but one that liberates you the moment you accept it. No one is coming to organize your life for you. No one will hand you clarity, protect your time, or build your discipline. That's your responsibility. But hidden inside that responsibility is your freedom. Because when you realize that your days are yours to design, your life stops being a reaction and starts becoming a masterpiece. Alan Watts once said, "The meaning of life is just to be alive. It is so plain and so obvious and so simple, and yet everybody rushes around in a great panic. And that panic? It comes from disconnection, from rushing through life on autopilot, driven by demands that don't align with who you really are. You end up building a life you never meant to live, all because you never stopped to ask, what do I want my days to feel like? Your routine is not a prison, it's a palette. Every choice you make, from how you wake up to how you speak, move, rest, reflect, is a brushstroke. And over time, those strokes reveal a picture. The question is, are you painting something beautiful, or just scribbling to keep busy? Designing your day means being honest about what fuels you, what drains you, and what matters most. It means structuring your time not just around productivity, but around purpose, around energy, around alignment. Because a well-designed day doesn't just check boxes, it reflects values. It makes space for growth. It honors your inner world as much as your outer tasks. Start simple. Ask, what time of day do I feel most alive? When am I most focused? What activities expand me, and which ones shrink me? Then build around that. Protect your mornings. Block time for deep work. Schedule reflection, movement, silence. Say no more often. Say yes with intention. This is not about perfection. It's about ownership. And the irony, when you design your days with care, your life actually slows down. Not because you do less, but because you feel more. You become present, engaged, directed, and suddenly you're not just surviving your schedule, you're steering it. You don't need to control every second. You just need to reclaim enough of them to shift the direction of your life. Because when your days are shaped with intention, your future stops being a vague dream and starts becoming something you build, deliberately, with every sunrise. So here's the final reminder. Don't wait for purpose to arrive. Design for it, in the silence, in the structure, in the way you move through each day. Because when your day has meaning, your life begins to echo with it. So now you see, success was never hidden in some distant destination. It was always right here, in your hands, in your habits, in your hours. It never needed to be chased. It needed to be lived, not tomorrow, not next year, but today, in the way you rise, the way you speak to yourself, the way you respond when no one's watching. You don't build a life of purpose in grand declarations. You build it in repetition, in systems, in silence, in showing up when it would be easier not to, in choosing direction over distraction, clarity over chaos, discipline over delay. This is not about achieving more, it's about becoming more aligned. And that alignment doesn't shout, it whispers through morning rituals, through intentional actions, through quiet reflections at the end of the day. It's not always exciting, but it's always powerful. Because the truth is, you're not waiting for a new life. You're rehearsing it every single day. The question is, which life are you rehearsing? One built on noise, reaction, and scattered focus, or one built on clarity, rhythm, and quiet self-respect? This episode wasn't about pressure. It was about permission to slow down, to design, to return to what matters. Because once you take ownership of your days, your life starts to answer differently. If today's message resonated with you, let it be more than a moment of insight. Let it be a turning point. Begin today with one small act of presence, of focus, of purpose. Don't wait for the perfect system. Build a simple one and protect it like your future depends on it, because it does. And if you're ready to keep building alongside us, subscribe, share this episode with someone who's ready for more, and join a community that's not just dreaming, but designing lives with intention. I'll see you in the next episode.